Good day, good day. Welcome back. All our Across the Fader Network fans of the show. I'm Nate Jenkins, and of course we're politicking our way. First to the legalities. Everything that this guy says, thinks, illustrates, and explains and expounds to you are my thoughts, my comments only. They do not resonate or represent anything regarding this network, Across the Fader.us, entertainment, or any other things that are connected to Nate Jenkins. So let's get into today's topics, man. We've been away for a while, and we try to give our good president, that old orange orangutan guy, some space because he had started acting just a twinge presidential. So I thought we were on a good roll. But then life shows up. Recently we just had this shooting incident down in Florida. Well, it's a very big thing. I mean, kids getting killed in school, a place where they go to learn, a place where they should be theoretically safe. It just shouldn't happen. But it happens a lot here in America. And we'll get into a little bit of why I believe it's that way. But it amazes me. Don't get me wrong. Personal feelings for those families down in Florida. But hell, we've been shooting up black neighborhoods for years. And we ain't never got this kind of movement. Little Juju and little Bobby Ray, all them, they've been getting knocked off in the hood. But you let Amelia and a few others get shot up in schools, and we got a national outcry. Which we should have, but I'm just saying, let's keep the ball rolling. Let's understand that it's just not about shooting, because if you focus on the surface stuff, you really miss the meat and potatoes of this thing. It's about those guns, man. It's about gun control? No, it's about gun eradication. It's about removing those weapons of mass destruction, military style weapons, out of our communities. I mean, let's face it. We talk about hardening schools versus gun control. A lot of pundits, a lot of experts are saying, they're not going to give up their guns. So the answer is to now hardening the school. And what do we mean by hardening? Let's make the schools more secure. So let's do what they do in the hood. Let's throw some metal detectors in the high schools. Like that works. How many times we've seen folks get things past the metal detectors? Let's put a resource officer in the school, armed. How many times has that worked? As a matter of fact, in Florida, there was an armed police guy, resource officer on site that didn't enter the building. Okay? Let's talk about arming teachers. Well, guess what? I've been around a lot of cats with guns. It's alright when you're shooting at somebody, but when they're shooting back at you, the whole dynamics of the situation changes. And if you're in an active shooter scenario and you have a gun, guess what? You're even more of a target than the individuals who they were initially shooting at. Statistics say that a well-trained FBI agent, a well-trained Army individual with the handgun or otherwise, shooting at a target at an expert level, hits that target 80% of the time. But in an active shooting scenario where that same expert is taking fire, they only hit the target 18% of the time. So the likelihood of a teacher who's been trained to shoot and handle the firearm, but not in a combative situation, to be of any aid of assistance is a very slim and mute point. Because guess what? If I'm shooting at you and shooting at me, I'm taking cover, trying to find a spot to hide while I'm shooting at you. Well, this incident took less than 8 minutes. I can guarantee you that no teacher, unless they've been combat serviced and ready, will be able to hit that mark in 8 minutes. So let's stop that dumb debate about whether or not we should arm teachers. No, we don't need to arm teachers. We glossing over it. We put some surface bullshit on top of an issue. We don't need to arm teachers. We don't need to put Kevlar in the walls. We don't need to put Kevlar vests in the schools. What we need to do is get these goddamn assault weapons out of our community. Look at places like England. Yeah, they have a lot of terrorist attacks, but it's bombs and knives. It ain't machine guns because they got rid of them. Look at Australia, where they have the right to bear arms just like we do. But they started a buyback program and made it illegal to have weapons of mass destruction with these big clips and magazines, and they bought the majority of those guns back. And their school shootings went down to 0. I mean, come on, people, this ain't rocket science. It's not a lesson we need to learn. What's the real answer to this? Okay. Billy Bob has an automatic weapon that he bought at a gun show. Okay? He had a license for it. He had to do no background check because he bought it at a gun show. And at 18, he can do the background check and get a license for it and buy it at a gun store. But Ray, he bought his out the back of a trunk of the local gun dealer that comes to his neighborhood and sells guns like it's crack. Same event, same effects. If they weren't manufactured and made available, they wouldn't fucking be here. It's really that simple. Okay? So the answer is eradication, not control. Get rid of them. Give me one good reason why you need a weapon of military grade that can shoot 150 rounds in 6 minutes. Give me one good reason. You ain't hunting no animals. Time you pick the deer carcass up, it's just shredded meat. You can't eat it. Okay? You're not hunting bears with it. Nothing you can hunt other than individual people is the purpose for those type of weapons. So when one of those guys say, well, I need the right to bear arms, I want to keep it, you know, those good NRAers, what they really saying is I want to have the ability to protect my property, the things I own, by hunting your ass down. I want to have the opportunity to catch that guy that's illegally on my property or broke into my house and shred his ass like paper. It has nothing to do with due process. It has nothing to do with anything else other than ego and power. Because when those guys are holding those guns, that's what they feel. Ego and power. There's no humanity in a military grade weapon. You understand what that means? Military grade weapon. It's no humanity in war. That's what those weapons were made for. But now we got the students. God bless them, out there protesting. Kind of remind me of the 60s. Because you know the civil rights movement would not have had much movement at all if it wasn't for the students, Southern Christian Leadership, and a few other organizations that got those black and white college students on those freedom ride buses that were willing to give their life for a cause that represented their future. These students today are walking out of school, and I'm not saying that they all are willing to lay down and take fire, but they have already done that. With those few sadful souls that lost their life, my condolences to the families. We're talking Virginia Tech, all the way back to Columbine, Sandy Hook, you know, the Pulse nightclub in Florida some time back. Now, these folks at this high school again in Parkland. I mean, come on, folks. Really? Gun control? It ain't the answer, man. You don't control something that needs to be put away, taken back from, okay? Look, I know of many folks, legally and illegally, that have those weapons. I fired a few myself. And let me tell you, I'm pretty good with it. I hits my mark because ain't nobody firing back at me. But trust and believe, in an active shooter scenario, having more guns on the scene helps nothing. If anything else, that teacher or that individual is going to end up hitting more children as they're trying to get away from the original gun shooter. Okay, so let's get through that, man. But let's look at our orange and orangutan up there on 16th and Penn. You know, he doesn't go down for the CNN commentary with the students. The Florida governor doesn't show up and face those people in Parkland, the students and their parents. Marco Rubio, little Marco, he showed up. Boy, did he take some fire. He's a Republican. He took, a couple of $1 million from the NRA, blood money. And they asked him flat out, are you going to take any more? After he changed his position on a few things like lifting the age from 18 to 21 to be able to buy a rifle of any sort. That's real dumb. You can't buy a pistol until you're 21, but you can buy an AR-15 at 18. Something sounds real fucking stupid with that. Okay? So Rubio says, I'll look at that again. Yeah, I think we should move that up. Then he turns around and says, well, now after this event, the details of it, I think that we should do something about these large caliber magazines and reduce those. Like that's really going to help, because really they're just going to jerry rig the thing up again to be able to rapid fire. Let's get rid of the bump stocks. I mean, all of these are all these surface ass answers. The real thing is, if the gun is not present, the danger is not present. Stop trying to fix some shit when you got the answer. But he can't say, I'm going to get rid of the gun, because that means I'm going to get rid of that damn $3.2 million that these folks just dropped in my lap. He says people buy into his ideas. He doesn't buy into theirs, but we all know that's some bullshit. Every member of Congress, House and Senate, especially on the Republican side, and some Democrats, who are those hawks, those warmongers, the ones that don't mind putting your children and my children in harm's way every day by taking that money from the National Rifle Association, the NRA, the biggest gun lobbyists, and those who are members who pay those dues, who give them the fees to be able to pay off these politicians.